don't understand why anybody shouldn't be fond of boxing. It takes a lot of skill, courage, speed, intuitiveness, perception, a sense of judgment. We have to recover, restore the position we held many years ago.
Rawlings was brought up in Adraka, and boxing ostensibly is associated with the guns.
He has never been a boxer.
I mean, he would spend all his time training these guys.
He's the one taking care of us, as a manager, because we are dependent on him.
Accra, in the late 70s, a nation with religious football craze had suddenly been exposed to the prospects of the gentleman's sport, boxing. David Kote, also known as DK Poison, had won the world featherweight title, and the financial reward had benefited Ghana's struggling economy. Many boxers before Poison, like Roy Ankra, Eddie Blay, Clement Ikwoti, had won Olympic medals and Commonwealth titles for Ghana, but a world champion brought a different euphoria.
Boxing came into prominence in Ghana in 1951 when Roy Ankra beat Ronnie Clayton for the Empire title, which is the British Commonwealth title and the featherweight title. And it brought everybody to realize about the sport of kings, which is called boxing. And that's how it started. And we've had great boxers.
In 1975, the famous victory of DK Poison. And mind you, DK Poison was grown by the state. Achampon decided at that time at the prodding of Roy Ankra that we needed to get a world champion. And so DK Poison was brought down from Australia, and the state put a lot of money into feeding him, grooming him, and paying for all these titles. So he became a world champion in 75.
DK Poison's hero status set off a boxing fever, reigniting gyms all over the country, especially in the Ga communities along the coast of the capital, Accra, where the sport of boxing bore similarities with a local traditional fist combat sport known as Asafwachele.
Ghana boxing had its own history. Around about the 18th century, an area, a quarter of a mile area in the Bukom part of the Ga Mashi area had the sport, they called it Asafwachele. The Ga fisher folk, when they go and fish and do all the hard work and they come back, in the evenings, they develop a sport where they actually fight. They didn't have gloves on. Asafwachele, to bemi, kakla bemi. You're not going to use stones. You use your bare knuckles. So these were bare knuckle fights, and they were developed even before the Broughton rules in the 19th century, when English boxing developed standard rules for boxing. So all of this influenced Ghanaian boxing in the 20th century. In Asafwachele, you don't give up. So the tenacity, the thrust, the gutsiness of Ghanaian boxers, that's innate. It's something they acquire. Their defensive skills, the capacity to block punches freely and to dodge and skip, it comes naturally because of Asafwachele.
This ties the history and development of boxing in Ghana closely to Ga communities, with Bukom, a fishing community producing almost all would-be world champions. Raw boxing talents were in abundance, but very little effort was being made towards improving the boxing. Poorly equipped gyms, low technical expertise, deplorable welfare, and living conditions of boxers. Hope was fading for the young amateur boxers who dreamt of following the footsteps of their icon, DK Poison, and conquer the world. In the midst of these challenges, the flame of passion and love for boxing was burning in the heart of a young officer of the Ghana Armed Forces.
The thing is that all the young people of the time in the 60s, in the mid-60s, you know, who had gone to secondary school or were in university and everything, were interested in Ghana's sporting prowess. And boxing was introduced into the secondary schools at Chimota, Infantswim, Desano. They had a fringe of people who indulged in boxing.
At Chimota School, it was an interesting school. The boys' PE teacher spent a lot of time getting them to box each other. And once a month, we would have a boxing tournament in Achimota, and you know, they fight among themselves and you get to know who is better and so on and so forth. So perhaps that was the beginning. Even when we were dating, there were days that he would say, "Oh, come with me to watch the boxers." And I would go with him. Sometimes he would say I should come with him to watch the military boxers, because he was training both the civil and the military boxers.
He made a lot of contributions. He's always interested in the welfare of the boys. When he comes to the camping ground, he will be asking, "Any problem? Have you eaten? How was the food?" He was throwing those questions not to a particular fellow, but almost everybody. So he makes sure the boys are also happy.
He fought for the welfare of boxers during camping, and they were given rice water without sugar, rice water without milk. So he became annoyed that a person who is going to honor the flag of Ghana and the military, he is giving these things that will not ginger him or help him to fight.
After I left the university, I was working in a department store, which meant that I had sugar, rice, milk, and stuff like that. And every time I got my allocation, they would disappear. At one point, I'm like, there are only two of us in this house, so how much milk do you drink in a day? They said, actually, I need it for my boxers. So literally, we were taking care of the boxers, not only their training, but their nutritional intake as well.
He encouraged me that those days I'm doing the human job. You know, I've taken upon myself to nurture these boys. So he encouraged me I should go ahead. You know, with that encouragement, it gingered me more. Despite you don't gain anything from promotion, you know, it encouraged me that one day, one of my students will get to the world.
This man once gave his traveling ticket to one of the boxers who felt he had been cheated in selecting a team to wear military games in Egypt. We were all shocked by doing that.
Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings would go on to become head of state and issue definite instructions to sector heads to pay attention to amateur boxing. The objective, a deliberate and sustainable plan to produce world boxing champions in Ghana to give the sport a facelift. These interventions bore fruit, and in the mid-1980s, Ghana is ushered into its best period of international boxing successes. From these slums of Bukom and other underprivileged surroundings rose a new school of gallant fist warriors who will conquer Africa and the world, their pace-setter being the iconic Azuma Nelson.
Su rival. Ahí va.
See already what he has in his mind. Oh! Well, it's 15 years since Pacquiao.
Nelson in the opening seconds. President Rawlings, when we were, they called us as for the national team, you know. So he came there as Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings at the time. He's the one taking care of us, as a manager, team manager. When we finish training, we have to relax because we have to go back again and train again. So we have to relax. He come and clean the rooms for us. He bring in some food for us because we are dependent on him because he's the one bringing food. Wherever I go and get the food. There I got to know him and want to join the force because I like the discipline. And I like the hard work. And he said no. I shouldn't join the force because what he is seeing in me is bigger than the force, So if I join the force, I cannot become a professional boxer.
How was the former president's desire to have Azumah Nelson turned into a world champion implemented? Fortune smiled on Ghana because we had three of the top-most personalities, Nia Jinkwa, lawyer, Alote Kofi, who was then the Ghana Boxing Authority chairperson, working together with Amaka Amatefi, who was the secretary for sports. And because Alote Kofi was the vice president of WBC, he had access to Jose Suleiman. So it was not very difficult to push Azumah into the rankings of the WBC. He had about 3 or 4 fights, tune-up fights between 82 and 84 when he finally got the opportunity to fight. And all the way in San Juan, Puerto Rico, he totally humiliated the champion at that time. And it was huge for Ghana sports.
It was just adequate that we had a president who was interested in boxing. His sports minister at the time was interested in boxing. His vice chairman was interested in boxing. And you had a group of people, all who were contemporaries, who were interested in boxing. And so it wasn't difficult for boxers to have the kind of support at the time to go and seek further laurels on the international scene.
I know him as a good person. I could remember the time I was going to fight Jeff Fennick, the second fight. He called me and he said, "Chan, people are saying you're going to the fight because of the money." And I said, "No. I'm not going to the fight because of money. I'm going to the fight to knock him out." And he said, immediately I said it, I said, he knows. If I say I'll knock him out, I'll do that.
With discipline, hard work, power, and the love of a nation behind him, Azumah Nelson brought glory to Ghana by winning and dominating the WBC super featherweight division in style, earning him the accolade, the Professor. Marvelous Nana Yakunedu rose from the hinterlands of Sunyani to conquer the WBC super flyweight title in 1989.
I can assure you that winning the WBC flyweight title by Nana Yakunedu was really the handiwork of the former president. He virtually took him in and once again allowed the GBA president, Alote Kofi, together with Amaka Amatefi to implement his desire.
Like a bazooka, the devastating jabs of Ikwate earned Ghana another homegrown world champion in the WBA welterweight division.
Champion of the world, Bazooka
Ikwate, we call them the Whisk Kids. Ikwate and then Alfred Kote, all of them won world titles in '94. And, very strangely, Ikwate's fight took place on the 4th of June, 1994. And you know what the 4th of June means for the former president. So he became very close to Ike and then Alfred Kote as well.
Alfred Kote also won WBO bantamweight title to complete it.
Good right hand by Nelson added to his growing reputation worldwide with that demolition of a very...
Jerry Rawlings' deliberate and personal interventions saved a lot of the youth from street vices, and boxing gyms became a safe haven and an avenue to fame, fortune, and a better life. A legacy credited to the commitment and support of Jerry Rawlings. The good foundations laid and the positive examples set by the likes of Professor Azumah Nelson continue to inspire the younger generation to take that pilgrimage to Bukom in pursuit of greatness. young Joseph Agbeko embarked on this journey inspired by principles of hard work, discipline, endurance, and passion in the footsteps of his icon Azumah.
Boxing made me. If not because of boxing, I would have become a fetish priest, or I would have been on the streets committing a lot of crime. There was this picture I saw of Azumah Nelson and the late President J.J. Rawlings, which has been my inspiration throughout my career. That was a picture that Azumah went for a fight, and when he got back, he had his title on with some leaves on his neck, and he was walking on the street with the ex-president, the late J.J. Rawlings. And I said to myself that I want to do this, I want to achieve this. I want to go out there, win a title, and then take that walk on the streets with the president.
Joseph King Kong Agbeko.
Joseph King Kong Agbeko restored Ghana's world title glory by winning the IBF Bantamweight crown in 2007. Similar feats have been achieved by Joshua Clottey in the IBF welterweight division, Isaac Dogbe in WBO junior featherweight, and Richard Comey in the IBF lightweight divisions. The vision of Jerry Rawlings in developing boxing in Ghana lives on, to be carried in the hearts of every young Ghanaian with passion and desire. The Jerry John Rawlings Foundation aims to identify and support young boxing talents in fighting for their dreams and the fight for your future project.
President Rawlings was somebody who did a lot of things, not because he was going to get money into his pocket. He did it because of a conviction. He did it because he believed in it, and he believed in the people he was doing it for. So if he's not there anymore, we want to continue what he did. And even, I will add, what he tried to do. This is what we want to do with the foundation. This is what the foundation will want to do for young boxers.
Rawlings, he loves boxing, and he supports sports, you know. So I'll be happy if people will contribute to his foundation, so that we can continue helping the upcoming ones.
Like Prince Kamaldeen Mohammed, many young boxers are fighting for their future, punching all odds for an opportunity to develop their boxing skills and achieve glory for themselves and the nation.
I'm Prince Kamaldeen Mohammed, and with your support, I will become a world champion.